who among you has some sort of background where they might actually know anything about ancient treasures here? Oh, the specialist, right? Who's our specialist?
Eba.
Oh,
Yeah, we lost the specialist.
okay. Let's double check on him. All right. Well, that's too bad because the specialist I would hand it to the specialist to know, some of
But this,
the juicy
in a
details.
way, this kind of works as an to kick off the adventure, because we are on the verge to enter the place that the specialist has told us about, and he said, I know where we can find the stuff, and now we have to go there, and it's nowhere to be found.
That's
So
what we'll do. So that way, when Ibars can rejoin us, he can pop up out of a box or something. The fact that you're going into the House of Wisdom, in terms of occult knowledge, is amazing. In terms of it being a lost holy place and currently under threat, the woman who's a cleric, what is her professed religion?
I'm a Sunni Sufi.
Okay. And Sufi, yeah. So basically, you get to come up with whatever weirdness your particular sect of Sufi does. There's only several hundred of them, and each one is weirder than the next. So,
Yeah, that's how I choose it.
yeah. So, I basically, if you want to be some sort of weirdo, we interpret the Quran like this. Oh, but we're also reasonably loyal empire citizens and we serve some sort of useful social purpose, then so we get to be legal, even though our doctrine is completely whacked. So that's kind of what Sufi has been all these years. In fact, it's not even a religion, it's a designation. It's an official designation of one of those hundreds of who knows what. So, okay, so great. From your perspective, of course, we have a holy place of immense significance that could easily be taken over by and perhaps destroyed, right? These Safavid Persians, they've got their own specific form of Islam that is not particularly tolerant and may be quite destructive toward this, this place. So that's kind of the clerical angle. So cool. Let's move on this. At the moment, your characters I've just gone past the walls or the historical walls of the Round City. And much of these are not particularly whole, not particularly, they're certainly not maintained as walls. So you can see crumbling walls. Some of them are kind of high. Some of them are kind of not. And during the heyday of the Round City, they weren't really used as a fortress anymore anyway. So therefore, it's not really a matter of getting through the walls. You just note that now we are in them. And once you are inside, the circular area is far, far too big to see across. And in fact, it's the inner ring is a bunch of old residences, most of which are the few that were used until recently are now abandoned for good.
Completely uninhabited.
Right. But on the other hand, a lot of them are intact enough to be dangerous territory. Any of you with a military background instantly feel creepy crawly because there are 10,000 ambushes in every direction.
And maybe the city itself, I can expect that it was maybe designed like this, in the sense that since it was a place of power, that it was maybe designed to be defendable.
Oh, it was originally, for sure.
Yeah.
And since it became more and more residential as the years passed, that sort of made an accidental effective urban barrier. If there's one thing that anybody in Baghdad of any century would know, is that this city is very deadly ground for any invading force. It's just a humongous jumble of alleys, streets, buildings, cellars. There's subterranean subterranean ways to go that people don't know, except if you live there.
How
Underground
to be
waterways.
Yeah, that's basically where an invading army would be.
Oh yeah, they'd be swallowed up.
Outplayed by a local guerrilla.
Absolutely, yeah, very very much so. So just passing through the ruins of it is bad enough. Ibars, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we missed
Welcome
you.
back.
Yes, we missed you, and we
I know.
talked
Sorry,
about how
sorry.
your very character, who is named what?
Jalal.
Okay. And your character is from where?
Trace.
Aha. Wow. We are very Balkan in this group so far. And so we have, I want to tell you a little bit about from the reign of Emperor Nicephorus Phocas back in the 900s, that he was among the last of the emperors to issue the thickest, oldest form of the pure gold coins.
Okay.
They became thinner, although they were still pure, in the next emperor. And then after that, the purity dropped drastically. So what we are talking about here is your character knows or believes that he knows that there are coins from this period kept secret in this area because they were hidden there when the Mongols invaded. And you also know that for some reason the Mongols did not destroy the Round City. Oh, right, sorry. The Mongols did destroy the Round City library, but they never occupied or searched the Round City for some reason.
Okay.
So therefore, although they destroyed the library, they for some reason left the rest of it alone, and it has been ruined and unused for the most part ever since. But it has been, but you don't think that the Mongols took every single thing from underneath every single rock.
Okay.
So the possibility of these coins is very real. As I pointed out, these coins are mostly of historical value. The gold would be, of course, valuable, but it's just gold. What matters is that anybody who cares about history, any government, in fact, any authorities or academy, if you can get back from Baghdad to proper areas, these would be a fortune. Even a few coins like this would be a fortune. So, so that is our you are the one who is going through here. Now, I have said that the group has just gone into the outer portion of the Round City, which is mostly disused and broken residences. So there's several. There's quite a while of getting through. If you drive toward the center of the city, it's going to be a pretty scary situation with a lot of these, very ancient but battered and broken buildings. Some of them continued to be used until this day, until recently, but not very much. And now they are not.
Before the violence that happened here in the last few years, was this area of the city what you would call a wealthy area of the city?
No, not at all. This would be an area where people would it would be considered a sort of marginal place.
Okay. I mean, are we looking at are we looking at mansions or it's just house upon house upon house?
That's exactly correct. The outer portion, if you look at the picture, you'll see that the outer ring of the Round City is extremely densely populated with what look like residences.
Yeah.
And so think of that after 500 years of ruin and marginal use, not very well supported use. And that's what you're going through. So at the moment, it's pretty fucking scary. Are you there in the early dawn? Are you there at the evening? Are you there at midnight? Are you there at noon? Tell me.
I think the early dawn makes more sense. Like, I wouldn't want to go in a place like this with also the disadvantage of not seeing where I'm going.
Well, conversely, if we are moving in an environment where people have lots of hiding places, being the ones that are walking in the streets in broad daylight may not be the safest strategy.
Well, that's why I think why he's looking for dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't say go in and at the, I don't know how you call it in English, like the crack of midday, or how's that called, like the azimuth or whatever. I wouldn't call.
You want to go there right before the sun goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And which season are we in, by the way? Is it spring?
I was going to say that looking at the rules, the history. I want this to be before the big push of the siege in November.
Okay.
So the Safavids are currently not in a siege status, but that's coming soon. And the word has come that the Grand Vizier is coming, and the Ottomans are going to take the city back from it. And the actual belief at the moment is that he would succeed.
Okay.
So he's not going to succeed, but a lot of that had to do with weather conditions, and so the kind of this is the guy who pacified Anatolia, and now that he's done that and let Baghdad fester like this for a while, now he's turning his attention over here and saying, all right, all those freakazoids over in Anatolia who keep rebelling and keep pretending that there's some other thing than a good Ottoman citizen, because they do in Eastern Anatolia. Troublesome people as far as the Ottoman Empire is concerned.
Yep.
And so now that the Grand Vizier has handled that, mainly by probably killing a lot of people, is now organizing from all over the empire to descend upon Baghdad and just pound it into the shape that he wants. And so the armies are currently advancing, slowly advancing, establishing their supply lines, conquering specific spots, and establishing full control over particular ports or points of transition. This is a very scientific army. They set up everything first before they go in with force. So that's what's happening right now during this year. So you guys are actually getting ahead of that. See what I mean? You're trying to get ahead of that assault to see if you can get into the House of Wisdom before that.
It's the guy who crushed my life, so it makes sense that now I want to go ahead.
So
I need to choose my spells, I think.
Yes.
So I will take Cure. And I think Detect.
Okay. Now, what we are going to do is proceed through this urban area. The first thing I'm going to say, really, that nobody is going to interfere with you. You will proceed with caution through these areas. You will come to the region of the old House of Wisdom, which itself had been fortified, but is very, very, very battered and very, very much, no longer really defensible. But there are some walls still there. It has certain aspects of the kind of fortress keep that anybody knows about, with walls that you can walk along and with towers at the corners. It looks a little bit more like a building than a fortress, but if you look again, you realize it's a fortress. There are many buildings inside it, so it's big enough so that the interior has separate buildings, but not very many. It's not enormous, so there may be as many as 3 or 4 buildings, perhaps one running along the inside of one of the walls.